Still at the National Assembly, the House of Representatives is set to probe the alleged abuse of due process, violation of local content laws, and disobedience to the Petroleum Industry Act by oil and gas companies operating in Imo State. Our National Assembly correspondent, Joke Adisa, has details.
Motions and bills are once again up for discussion on the second legislative day of the week. During the proceedings, lawmakers focused on key national issues, including the abandoned $35 million modular refinery project in Brass, Bayelsa State, 4 years after substantial financial commitments were made by the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board. Relevant committees of the House are to launch a probe.
This House is very concerned that despite this huge investment of $35 million, which is more than 50 billion naira today, and enough to fund fundamental components of the national budget, the proposed modular refinery that was to be known as Atlantic International Refinery and Petrochemical Limited was never set up.
It appears today that we're a nation that will not only eat our profit, but will also eat her investment.
In another development, lawmakers called for the stoppage and mitigation of risks associated with the use of hazardous pesticides across the country.
The growing circulation of highly hazardous pesticides in the country poses grave risks to human health, food safety, environmental sustainability, and biodiversity.
The House further approved a motion on the alleged abuse of due process, violation of local content laws, disobedience to the Petroleum Industry Act, and non-compliance with tax regulations by oil and gas companies operating in Imo State.
That the continued neglect and infringement of these laws, if not urgently addressed, may lead to violent protests that could threaten national security, destruction of critical oil and gas infrastructure, disrupting production and harming the national economy, and a breakdown of law and order in the oil-producing regions of Imo State.
At the Committee of the Whole, lawmakers approved the report on a bill aiming to establish the Nigerian Police Force Pension Board. The board will be responsible for administering pension scheme for officers and personnel of the Nigeria Police Force and exempting the force from the contributory pension scheme under the 2014 Pension Reforms Act. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.